Hey friends, so glad you're with me. I am ready to get this scruff off of my face. It's itchy. I just trimmed my hair a few moments ago, and so now I'm ready to shave this off of my face. So I'm going to get started with Prorasso's, their white pre-shave cream, and then we'll get started with the actual shave. My week has been really interesting. You imagine perhaps that by the time you're 47 and have lived the life that many of us live these days, that you kind of have been there, done that, seen it all, and been involved in most things you wanted to be involved in. I was not by my own volition involved in a situation on Sunday on my way home from the greater St. Louis area. Looked up on the interstate to see on the opposite side a tractor trailer and what I believe now to be 6 or 7 automobiles, including some trucks and so forth. A major accident as it was happening, and the accident began to move through the median and over onto my side of the interstate. And without getting into gory details, there were 3 fatalities, and I attempted to resuscitate one of those. And I can just simply say that the human body is certainly built beautifully and brilliantly, but in a crash like that, it is not as strong as perhaps we would like to convince ourselves of. And yeah, it's quite something. The person I worked on, I don't even know the person's name. Don't know who they were, don't know their story. It just happened that they ended up essentially right in front of my automobile. And, you know, it's one of those things where there's no decision to be made. You enter into the resuscitation effort as best you can. I had not studied CPR probably since I was, 12, 13, something like that, when I was in Boy Scouts. It's amazing how that stuff just kicks back in, and you do it. You know the ABC. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. Unfortunately, for this person, they had such severe external and internal injuries that living through it was, well, the medical personnel call it incompatible with life, and it's really tough. That's tough. I'm sure some of you out there have experienced things like that and will know that that's not a pretty thing, and it's not always easy to deal with. I'm going to be using some of Chris Lindsay's shaving soap. It's one that he put tobacco oud fragrance in for me. I don't usually use a shaving bowl, but today I am, and I've just spread some in the bottom, and this one seems to do very well in a shaving bowl, and I just saw it sitting there, excuse me, and so I thought I would, just for funsies, I don't anticipate any change in the way I do things. I really like my method. But once in a while, it's nice to do something different, just for a change, if for nothing else. As you know, if you've watched any of my videos before, I really, really think you are doing yourself a disservice if you have not tried any of CBL shaving soaps. And no, Chris is not paying me to say that. No, I am not getting a discount on anything. and I'm glad to pay, frankly, what he asks for things. I just think it's that good. I certainly have other companies, shaving soaps that I use in my regular rotation, but I confess I'm always glad to come back to Chris's products. They're so creamy, and the slickness that they provide is second to none, and I would put some money on that. I think there are other wonderful options. Saproficio Veracino. Who else? Martin Ducantre. The Fougère fragrance that they do is, I think, one of the very best. And of course, with those being triple milled soaps, they last forever. But I get a lot of satisfaction out of supporting Chris. He has never asked me to, but I like what I like, and I like his stuff, and I enjoy talking about it. I think I'm going to open this up just a touch. It's a little, just the tiniest bit on the dry side. And I think Barber Dave is exactly right. At least I have, in my experience, I think that it is harder to control the overall water content when you lather in a bowl. Now, I know that others do it extremely successfully, and I am certainly not denigrating their ability. I'm simply talking about my own. I just don't do quite as well with gauging water when I am bowl lathering as opposed to on my face. All right, using my Gen 2 Filarmonica. Likely from the 60s, but I wouldn't stake my reputation on it. I have to say, they are wonderful razors. They really are. Are they worth the money? That's a question I can't answer for you. And wouldn't presume to try. What I would say, are there other razors out there that will give you as wonderful a shave for less money? Yes, the answer is yes. And in that regard, I would say that, you know, if cost is is the major thing you're worried about, Filarmonica is not for you. But I think that there are some benefits to having something as storied as Filarmonica in your collection, if that's something you want. If owning 1 or 2 or 4 or 10 is something you aspire to, then that's what you should do. But I have said often enough. I'll tell you why I'm doing this at the end. I'm going to leave that, or actually just wash it back off. Yeah. You know, that Dorco that I have from the 70s, I don't remember what I paid for it, honestly. It definitely wasn't $450, which I think is what I paid for the Filarmonica. $425 maybe. I really, if you held a pistol to my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you. You'd just have to pull it. Because I really don't remember, but I think it was in the $425, $450 range. The Dorco might have been $125, $115, $130, I don't know, somewhere in there. And I can only say that it gives me every bit the shave that my Filarmonica does at, what, a quarter the price? Maybe not quite a quarter, but we're somewhere in the ballpark. I'm the last one, however, to tell people what they should or shouldn't have in their collection, or when you have too many razors or anything like that. People would look at my tobacco pipe collection and believe me insane. Wow, look at that. Is my brush shedding? I can't tell. Nope. That's one of my partner's hairs. He has long hair. So, man, I have to tell you, by the way, this lathers up so well in this bowl. And it's just it is nothing special about the bowl. It was a scrap of wood that I had left over. It's a piece of redwood burl. And I decided I was going to try to make a bowl, and because I turn bowls all the time, and I just put some dimples in it for turbulence, to help whip the soap, and yeah, that whipped brilliantly. That's actually really nice. Been busy in the photography studio this week. Let me do this and then I'll tell you about that. Next to being outside at Yellowstone or Glacier, the Tetons, or on Lake Clark, not Lake Clark, the Lake Clark seashore is what I'm trying to say, in Alaska. I just think the human body is absolutely beautiful. And I love doing what are called bodyscapes. And I use very minimal light. And I had 2 clients in this week so far, and both decided that they wanted a series of images of themselves in bodyscapes. So, and basically it's the human body, but rather deconstructed. They don't necessarily have to include a face. In fact, many of mine do not. And often it's just a single strobe. You know, sometimes you get into 3 or 4 or 5 depending on what you're trying to do. And I think the simplicity of it and the way it highlights the human body is actually one of the things that I really, really love. And one of the models actually is a juggler, is a circus performer. He's in his I think sort of early-ish mid-30s maybe. 6'7", like a Norseman almost, except he's German. But he came in and we did a series of images together. I wish I could show you all of them. Unfortunately, I can only show you one, and I'll put it at the end of the video so that you can see it. The rest are artistic, but they're also nude, and so that would not be something that my friends over at the Cadre or YouTube is going to appreciate very much. So we won't do that. But I will show you the one image of him that I took, so that is family friendly, so that you can see what I mean. All right, time to sort of rinse this off, and let's go at it third time. The reason I'm leaving some of this hair is that I'm actually reshaping the bottom of my Van Dyke, and I'm not sure exactly where the lines need to fall. And normally I have an eyebrow pencil of some type that I would sort of line it out, but I don't have one. So none of that today. So I'm just leaving a bunch, and then I will go back once I'm finished and kind of decide where things need to be and shape it from there. Okay, let's go back into my bowl again. As you can see, I still have a nice bit of fluffy lather. As my friend Major Rich says, if it's kind of like yogurt, you probably are there. And I think this would be Major Rich approved. It has a nice yogurty feel to it. See, isn't that nice? All right, third time. I've been listening to one of Verdi's late operas that I loved to sing. The character of Radames in Aida, one of his three great pieces. So the three greats of Verdi are considered to be Aida, Otello, and Falstaff. And then, of course, there is the Verdi Requiem. Each of the soloists gets what is essentially an aria. The tenor, so that would have been me, sings the Ingemisco. And we call it the greatest opera Verdi never wrote. Of course, it's a sacred piece, so that would make it technically an oratorio. But it's beautiful. Very dramatic. A number of parts of it, particularly the Dies Irae, gets used in commercials a lot. Or did. I don't hear it as much now anymore. But for a long time was used for really dramatic moments. All right. So let's go back the other way and see if we can't get a... get a nice close shave. And then I have to come back this way. Oh, how I envy people who can go simply up and down on their neck and get it clean. Because of my hair growth, it's just not a possibility. Oh, that's nice. Excellent. And let's, oh, whoops. I'm trying to do the wrong pass. I'm trying to do pass number 2. Let's do pass 3. How about it? Okay. There we go. And then all right. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, some little bit of cleanup, but less so than normal, I think. So let me get this off my face and lather back up, and then we'll do some buffing and flat blading, and should be done. Nice big floofy clouds. Love it, love it, love it. And I probably don't have to completely lather up because, as I said, there really isn't a ton of cleanup to do. However, I've got all of this beautiful lather, and it's so fluffy. And the ingredients in it are so good for your face. Why not? As Barber Dave would say, it's your shave, do what you want. I'm lathering up again. There we go. Yeah, see that? Oh, we're starting to get a few little bubbles in it, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Oh, that was good. I swear. There we go. All right. Let's finish this up, shall we? Just trying to feel the weight of the razor head, sort of like putting, right? Feeling the weight of the putter head and letting it do what it's supposed to do. Buffing, Barber Dave, if he watches this, he can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think buffing is supposed to be that way, so that the weight of the razor keeps it against your skin. Have to be really careful of the point on this thing. It will reach out and bite you before you actually sort of realize what's happened. Okay. I'm gonna rinse, check everything. Everything feels really nice. Like, I don't think there's anything going. I think it's fine. All right, so let me get all of this stuff off. Put some alum on. I don't think it'll have much to say this time. Sometimes the electricity is a little more than others. I don't know when yours talks to you, but my alum block talks more to me when my razor is just the tiniest bit dull. You can hear, there's a particular sound that the steel makes just as it starts to go dull. And the alum usually bites when it is that way. Let's see, where is my... Well, that's fun. I don't see any alum. I guess there's not going to be any sting because I don't see it. And quite frankly, I'm not going to look for it. All right. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I have no qualms with that at all. So what I think I will do now, also, since I can see, is I'm not going to get everything. And you know, the problem is never doing just one side. It's getting the other stupid side to match. Anybody got any tips for that? If you do, let me know. I'm gonna have to come this way. Yeah, it's not perfect. But I knew it was gonna have to grow in. Flat blade that. I think we're going to call that a day, huh? I appreciate you joining me. Hope you're having a great, like I said, hope you have a great rest of the week. And I will be back after the weekend. I'll get a good shave in first of the week. Probably will go back to my friadeur. And otherwise, yeah, be well, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.